Hey guys, it's Hannah, and welcome back to my channel and another video for Craft Galley. Happy Saturday. I'm filming this ahead, so I'm still getting ready for my trip. It is in a day and a half. I'm showing you 3 12 by 12 pattern papers and 2 solid. I'm going to regret picking that solid red paper, and I'll show you why. It just came out of some cardstock I picked up from Walmart, but apparently it's not very good quality. And we're going to make some gift bags today. Now, that purple one I gave you a quick look at, that was my practice bag. And I do remember I saw this a while ago on YouTube somewhere. And did you see that? I slowed that down so you could see that. Flipped right out of my hand. But I picked plain cardstock to show you that you can decorate it yourself. So I just used gold embossing powder and the Hero Arts Mr. and Mrs. stamp set. And just went over this. First I did Santa, then I did Mrs. Claus, then I did a candy cane, a snowflake, and then ho ho ho. And you notice I didn't go all the way to the edges. That's because we're going to put score lines in that, and then part of that cardstock becomes the bottom and sides. And now I said 12 by 12 because you need a 12 by 12 piece of cardstock for this size bag. I have to look up what the finished size is. Hopefully I remember when I'm done with this voiceover, and then I can put it on the screen. So I'm just going to go in and keep doing that over and over. And I made sure I used my powder bag quite a lot. I did also learn not to use my heat gun every single time I was done with an image, because my paper was getting quite warped. So when I went ahead and did the second piece, I kind of just was very careful about where I stamped and put my hand so that I didn't have to use my heat gun so many separate times. And that seemed to work a little bit better. So this is Ranger Gold Embossing Powder. I don't know if I said that. And this stamp set, the last time I used it in a video for Craft Galley was still available. I'll have to check and see. And now you want to make sure the top corner of where the top of your bag's going to be is up in there really good. And you're going to score 3 inches over on the left side of the bag, and you're going to turn it once, a quarter turn, and you're going to score the bottom of the bag over at 3 inches. And then you're going to turn it again, 1 turn, and you're going to score the right side of the bag over at 3 inches. And by now the top of your bag should be down at the bottom of the scoreboard. Or no, it should not. You should now have the top of your bag at the left side. Yeah, it should have been at the bottom. So then you're going to score the top of your bag at 1.5 inches. I'm trying to look at my stuff and look at the screen. You're going to do the same thing with the other side. And I'm going to show it again. And I'm keeping it at regular speed. But you may not see all parts of this on the other 2 bags, because then the video would have been way too long. Some parts I did keep in and just sped them up. You want to score these very lightly when you do that, because on this cheaper cardstock it did rip, and I think it ripped in one of the other bags too. Not ripped, but broke. I did fix that where you could see it on the edge of the bag that weren't on the bottom by just running a colored marker of the same color over it. Right here I'm just using some dye ink. I think Red Lobster, or Lobster, not Red Lobster. Anybody want Red Lobster? And just using some of those same images to decorate the inside of the bag, because the inside may not matter to you, but that 1.5 inch flip is going to be flipped to the outside of the bag, so you want to decorate that maybe. Now this is just a regular plaid background, and it actually came out of an ocean card pack. As you can see, there's mermaid scales on the inside, but I thought this would make an awesome bag for a man. Masculine, that's the word I was looking for. But I don't want those mermaid scales on the outside of the bag, so I cut 2 pieces of plaid paper, 3 inches by 12 inches, and that's going to be the top of our bag. So I'm just going to score the lines on the plaid bag, and I'm going to do it gently, and I'm using a Lawn Fawn bone folder. And we're also going to stencil on this bag. That was the second thing I wanted to show you could do when you make your own gift bags. And you want that top score line to score towards the outside of your bag, of course, so you can flip that over and glue it. All the other ones get folded in towards what you want to be the inside of the bag. And yes, I'm in the car again. Sure am. It's awfully loud in my house today. So that's the area you want to decorate where I put my hands. So I'm just going to use this Tim Holtz stencil. I'm not sure what it's called, but it'll be down below. And it has these pretty trees on them, evergreen trees, and it also has a part on the stencil where you can put snow over your trees. So we're going to do that. I'm just using some Catherine Pooler spruce ink for the trees themselves, and then I'm going to use a white pigment ink for the snow. And you can use any pigment ink you have, any white pigment ink. I'm using Smudge Daubers. I did try to use my makeup brushes in the beginning, and that was just taking way too long. This put more color on faster, so I stuck with the mini sponge daubers. You will see throughout this video as I'm putting the bags together, I go between Nuvo Deluxe adhesive, double-sided score tape, 1/4-inch tape, art glitter glue. I wanted to show you that you can pretty much use any adhesive you have. I would recommend using glue, fast drying if you're impatient. Just because you can move those parts around when you glue them together if you don't line it up perfectly the first time. So now we're going to fold up the red bag. I'll take a drink here. Excuse me. The third bag, I wanted to show you. One side of the bag, you're going to cut those 2 squares that the scoring makes off the bottom edges. On the other one, you're just going to cut the 2 scored lines across the bottom there, on the top of those tiny squares, only to the center line. So now we're going to glue. And while I'm doing that, that's the top flap that folds towards the outside of the bag. I wanted to tell you that the third bag is I wanted to show you that you could use 2 pieces of patterned cardstock and glue or tape them together so you have an inside and outside to your bag, and then you don't have to do any decorating to your gift bag at all. Also, save those squares that you cut off the one side of the bag because you can use those as your gift tags. So here I'm putting the bottom of the bag together. You're going to put tape or glue on the center flap of the side that only has the cuts in them. And then you're going to take the center flap of the other side of the bag and lay it right over your tape. Make sure it adheres well. My light just turned off on me in the car. Now you're going to do the side, and you're going to adhere tape to it. I'm just going to open the door real quick, turn the light on. Sorry about that. Now I put the tape on both sides first so I could just go at it real quick. And watch carefully how I fold this. You're going to take that flap that has tape on it and you're going to fold it towards this other side so that it goes right over the side flap, the side of the bag. Do the same thing with the other side. The taped bottom flap goes over the side flap of the bag. And then you're going to take that side flap that's still laying flat and you're going to put it over the other side flap of the bag, the side of the bag. I was just making sure it was all lined up. And now you're going to do the same thing with the other side. Put glue on it and then fold it over the other side of the bag. Make sure everything lines up nice. Keep your hand in there if you got liquid glue on there to make sure it adheres. Now, did you see that small hole in the bag? That was because that's that cheap cardstock I was talking about. I'm going to show you how to fix that. But in the meantime, take your hole punch, put 2 holes on each side of the bag for your ribbon. And I'm just using whatever ribbon I had on hand, and this is just something I got from Dollar Tree or Dollar General, and it's got some decoration on it, but it's still red. And I'm using some reinforcers here. I wish I would have remember to use these before I put the ribbon handle on the first side of the bag, but I did put it on the tag, and I wrote to and from on the tag. Now you want to slide your ribbon through that tag so it's connected to your handle. And I just knotted this, knotting over and over again, trying to keep the knot in the same space until it was big enough to not go through the hole. And then I did the same thing on the other side. Make sure you pull your handles up to make sure they're even before you knot your ribbon in there. And make sure you cut more ribbon instead of less ribbon. You can always trim it off, but you can't add more once you've already tied it to your bag. So see, I put that same ribbon along the bottom to cover up the hole, and you can use anything, washi tape, sticker tape, anything you want if the bag doesn't end up perfect. And now I'm just going over those trees, the second set of trees, because I couldn't use the stencil with white pigment ink on the other trees when it was still wet. And I think I put 5 trees on there, 3 small, 2 big. Now I'm showing you how I taped the 2 pieces of pattern cardstock together for the third bag. And I did use double-sided tape for this, and not a lot, just went around the whole outside edge. Then I put a second layer towards where the top flap will be, but not where the score line will be. And then I just put 3 pieces of tape in the center. And then we're going to go ahead and score both of those for both pieces of the bag. Same thing, 3 inches on the left side, 3 inches on the bottom side, 3 inches on the right side, and 1.5 inches on the top edge. And I scored that lightly, and that worked out pretty well. As long as you're not too heavy-handed, it shouldn't rip the cardstock. And this pattern paper came from Michaels, one of their paper pads last winter. And that's just a real quick showing of that one. Now we're going to put our plaid flap onto that. I think of it as flannel, the flannel gift bag. Sorry for my head, but I really wanted to make sure it was even. And we're going to do the same thing for the other side of the bag. And of course, this has to go on before you put the bag together. Now, I didn't care about them seeing the inside of the bag, because there'll be tissue paper in there, but I wanted to make sure that flap didn't have mermaid scales on there. So now that's on, I can glue my flap down on both sides of the bag. And yes, I'm still sick, and according to the doctor who I called today, and it's a Sunday, so I had to call on call, he cannot give me an antibiotic over the phone. He thinks I have something that's viral, so he suggests I take Mucus Relief and Dayquil, which I've already been taking, people. And there I am cutting off that square again on one side of the bag. 2 squares per one side of the bag, and then on the other side just cutting that slit. 3 inches in on one side, 3 inches in on the other side. I wanted to make sure I showed you that again, but I don't show you putting the whole bag together again. I was going to. Then I realized you guys can just rewind it and watch it again if you need to. If you guys have any questions, of course, leave them below, and I will answer them. Now for this one, I had to glue the 2 squares together because I didn't want the mermaid scales to be seen, but then I put a punch in it, and I think on that one I stamped out to and from a stamp set I had. And now I'm going to show you that I put Nuvo glitter accents in White Blizzard on there to kind of draw these hills connecting to the trees so it looked like snowy hills. They kind of looked like they were just floating on the gift bag, and I wanted to make sure they were grounded. And that's pretty much it, guys. I'm going to show you each bag. I'm going to show you some pictures of the bags. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I hope you like what you see, and there'll be a giveaway coming up this month, so make sure you have that subscribe button hit, and make sure you hit the notification button so you can be aware of the monthly giveaways and any extras that may pop up during that month. Isn't that teddy bear cute? Riley contributed that for me so I could take a picture. Let me know what you think of these photos too, guys. I thought they turned out pretty good. That's it for now. I have a couple videos coming up here. You can click on those pictures and it'll take you to a video if you're interested. Bye bye for now.